Dr. Ash DeRosa to the stand. May I set the court remote for use of demonstrative aid?
Sure. Your Honor, once the demonstrative is used, may I move to better see it?
May I proceed, Your Honor? Good evening.
Good evening.
Please introduce yourself to the members of the jury, spelling your last name for the record.
My name is Dr. Ash DeRosa. DeRosa is D-E-R-O-S-A.
What do you do for a living?
I am currently a firearms safety analyst and a professor at Midland State University, where I teach courses in gun violence prevention and management.
What education do you have?
I do have a master's in public health from Tufts University and also a doctorate in health policy and management from Midland State.
And what experience do you have in your field?
I have over 21 years of experience in the research field as of right now. Most of that pertains to gun violence and the research that goes along with that. Essentially, it is my job to help people mitigate the risks associated with keeping a gun in their home.
Turning your attention to today's case, how are you involved?
I was hired to assess the maintenance of the gun that was kept in the Parks home on August 18th of 2010, as it played a role in the events that occurred on that day.
And for your work in today's case, were you provided with sufficient facts and data?
Yes, I was provided with the statements of Danny Brooks, the Parks babysitter, as well as Andy Parks' statement and also Hayden Duran's statement. Also numerous exhibits including a layout of the Park home, a physical copy of the combination that locked the Parks gun safe, and also a picture of the drawer that contained that combination.
Did you use reliable principles and methods?
Yes, of course.
And did you apply those principles and methods reliably to the facts of today's case?
Yes, in my line of thinking, I teach them, so I better utilize them in my field.
How did you begin your analysis?
I began by analyzing the documents that I was provided with, and then comparing what I learned from those documents to a list of factors that make an accidental discharge more likely to occur.
Dr. DeRosa, what's an accidental discharge?
Accidental discharge is a fancy term for when a gun is fired but there was no intent to fire that weapon.
Can you list a couple of ways in which an accidental discharge can occur?
Certainly. There are a number of ways that this can happen. Essentially, all that needs to happen for a weapon to fire is for the trigger to be compressed on that weapon. Now, if a person is tripping or stumbling while carrying a weapon, this can happen. If a person is tossing or throwing a gun, and if the grasping motion of the hands happens, if they're catching a weapon, studies have shown that this can cause an accidental discharge as well. Like I said, all it takes is to compress the trigger. There does not have to be an intent to do so.
Earlier, you told us that there are factors that can make an accidental discharge more likely to occur.
Yes.
What are those factors?
I've actually brought along a chart to further explain them if that would be helpful.
Your Honor, may the witness step down and make use of demonstrative aid?
Yes.
Dr. DeRosa? What are we looking at here?
This is a list of those accidental discharge factors that I was talking about and how I applied them to the factors that were present in the home of the Parks on August 18th of 2010.
How does the presence of a firearm make an accidental discharge more likely to occur?
The presence of a firearm actually introduces the risk of an accident happening in a home. Obviously, a firearm accident cannot happen in a location where there is no firearm present.
And what about the accessibility of that firearm?
If the weapon is accessible to anyone within the home, then that too makes it more likely that an accident could occur. That's how it plays a role in the accidental discharge factors listed.
Well, Dr. DeRosa, how does age play a role in an accidental discharge?
The age of the individuals involved actually plays a very significant role in whether or not an accidental discharge occurs, specifically in regards to children. This is because children have a natural curiosity about guns statistically, and also because they don't have the level of safety training that they should. Actually, children ages 10 to 14 are the most likely age group to die from firearm safety accidents.
Dr. DeRosa, in your experience, you're familiar with how a gun is fired, right?
Yes, I am.
How would you properly fire a revolver?
A revolver
Yes, ma'am.
typically is held with the dominant hand of the shooter, with the pinky towards the butt of the gun, the last 3 fingers on the handle, and depending on whether or not it is a dual or a single action revolver, the thumb would cock the hammer, and then the thumb would compress the trigger. Or, I'm sorry, not the thumb, the index finger.
Well, Dr. DeRosa, how do these factors play a role in today's case?
When I was reviewing the documents that I was provided, I found a presence of each one of these factors in the Park home on August 18th of 2010.
Let's take them one step at a time. What did you find in regards to a presence of a firearm?
I did find that Andy and Lee Park owned a Baker Company, or Andy and Baker Company, 6-shot 9mm revolver that they stored in the master bedroom closet of their home.
And what did you find in regards to the accessibility of that firearm?
I did find that the children were able to obtain the combination to the gun safe in the Park home, which made that accessible, or the gun accessible to the children.
And how did age play a factor in today's case?
I found that both Jesse Duran and Sydney Park were 11 years of age at the time of the incident, which puts them well within that 10 to 14 age group that is most susceptible to firearm accidents.
And the safety training you talked about earlier, how did that play a role in today's case?
I didn't find any evidence that either of the children had held a gun before, let alone been exposed to proper safety training in the handling of weapons.
Dr. DeRosa, from looking at all these factors, as a firearm expert, what did you learn in today's case?
I learned that it was very possible on August 18th of 2010 that the occurrence of that day could have been an accident.
Thank you for your time, Dr. DeRosa. You may retake your seat. At this time, Your Honor, no further questions. Would you like me to take this down or leave it up?
You can leave it up, please.